I think that investing into Index Season 3 might have been one of the worst mistakes that I've made in my channel. But not really, right? I don't really believe what I said, but I'm here to kind of talk to you about like the whole system of how we pick shows to watch and like how Index right now, like let's just get into the numbers, right? It is an embarrassment if you look at the numbers here. And yeah, we're shadow banned, whatever. But even with the shadow ban, other community series don't do this bad, right? This is a channel with how many subs do we have now? How many subs do we have right now? 46.4 thousand subscribers. And if you look at the average viewership after, you know, like the third day or stuff for some of these other shows, right? You'll notice that it's not bad, right? Like Mikadona Sisters, for example, hitting 4.3k, 3.1k for, you know, stuff like that. And if you, and 11k for really hype shows, right? Sometimes like something happens, right? There's like a really popular trend happening. It's like the episode, right? Apocalypse bring on my Nogra, see this stuff. But what I'm starting to realize is, and I've noticed for a long time, is that no one really cares about Index and investing into it. I'm not saying I'm dropping it, right? I'm not dropping it, but I just want to talk to you guys about like this mindset of my channel and why I choose to farm out shows where like these are the true viewerships of shows that does pretty well. Why am I still continuing with Index? Like these episodes are really fucking garbage. There's some really good ones, right? Sometimes I'll bait the fucking thumbnail with Kanzaki with the maid cosplay. We'll get 3.5k. And there are episodes for sure when it's really hype, like Accelerators versus Kakine, right? 4,000 views. That's pretty good. If you compare the other seasonal bullshit that's happening right now, most of them, you know, can't get over 4k views on like a hype episode. So it's not like it's doing bad, but it's not even just Index, right? Like this is Railgun viewership now, right? We're showing Railgun viewership on the side. And come on. Come on, bro. God fucking damn it. I want to show you the viewership of Index throughout the last, you know, quite a bit. So if we look at the Railgun viewership, it's not like Railgun was doing any better either, right? You'll notice that a lot of them, you know, it really does averages around like 200 likes, something like 2,000 to 3,000 views. Sometimes, again, when it's really, really hype, it'll get a lot of views like that. But it's nice that like even though this series has been really fucking poor in terms of viewership, that it's still able to hit big numbers when it does matter. And here it is, right? This is the beginning of Index. Just like with any show, these are the problems. Every series, and this is a problem that every series has, right? Every series, no matter what does well in the beginning, right? Weekly series, community series, anytime. Why? Right? Why? Well, most people just care, you know, about the beginning of something like new happening, right? It's really that simple. Especially with seasonal animes too. When you have like brand new series happening right now, like if you look at like, and I've been saying this over and over again, the first episode of a new anime is usually the most viewed episode. There's gonna be some other episodes. For example, Dandadan Season 1 had episode 7. Remember that? How fucking popular it went? So other than like the first couple episodes, there's gonna be episodes in the middle or near the end where like they've been building up to some sort of big climax, and that's why it has a lot of views. But a lot of these shows, right? No matter what, let's bring that up here. It kind of looks like this. Let's bring this graph and let's bring this graph here. And the viewership in the beginning, it's always kind of like this. It's like this is usually what it is, right? This is the first couple weeks before people actually drop the show. And this is the phase where most people are like, you know what? I don't really care about it. It's by like week 3 or 4, people are like, I don't care. And then the true viewership gets determined here. This is the number that I care about. This number, it's pointless. Beginning of a new season, inflated numbers, I don't care. And on top of that, in the beginning of a new season, if a series underperforms first episode, then, you know, like if it starts out like this, nah. I drop a show immediately if that first episode is doing average. We cannot have that shit. So I care more about this part. And this part right now, I think is more closer to 3 to like around like 3 to 4K, right? Views. I'm not talking about Lord of the Mysteries. I'm not talking about Apocalypse Bringer by Nogra or these other shows, right? Because always there are shows in my channel, like Takopi, for example, or Dan, right? Where they do really well. Here's a really good example right here, right? This is called Welcome to the Outcast Restaurant. This has 2.9 thousand views after 2 weeks. This is pretty much the episode, I think, where we almost dropped it. And you'll notice a drastic difference in these other shows, right? I can just like read drama. I can just react to Lord of the Mysteries shorts. Look how drastic the difference in viewership is. But just because it does this bad doesn't mean it's a bad show. It just means that due to the nature of our goals in our channel, trying to be a variety horizontal scaling channel of I pick a lot of different shows, it's fine if it's kind of like over here. Dress Up Darling too, 4.1K, you know, 3.3K. It's not bad. So I never like check these high numbers as like the expectation. These are exceptional videos that a lot of people care about. Of course it's gonna do well. I care more about like shows that do bad, kind of like Kaiju 8-2 or even 2B Hero X, right? 3.3K, these are sad and pathetic. So with that all in mind, right? I've shown you now like kind of what number I truly care about. I don't care about this shit. We have to then take into consideration of like community series. And you see over here, right? In the beginning, when we first started Twaru, like it went really well. Look at this shit, 15,000, 10K, 8K, 7K. Yeah, it's gonna do well. But as the show goes on, people are going to run out of steam. And another interesting thing is, this is from October 2024. What I want to tell you is, the longer it takes to complete a show, you would think that like it would do better. Because back in 2024, October, how many subs do we have? Definitely not 40,000, definitely not 30,000. It was close to like 20K or something, right? So how is it possible that we have grown double in viewership, double in sub count, yet the views are going down, right? Well, it's pretty simple, because the people that are joining, right? The new people that has been joining from these other videos, they're not index enjoyers, right? All these new people coming in are off of Lord of the Mysteries and other hype seasonal animes. So the longer it takes to finish, right? The longer it takes to finish the show that we pulled in, the more difficult it is to get that same viewership. So by November, things are pretty good, right? 8K, this is when like Railgun started. But as time goes on, where does the drop off really happen? Right? Right over here, 7K, 5K, 4K, 6K. Now you get to see during Railgun season 1 and 2, right? That like viewership really drops off. And sometimes there are exceptional episodes that is still able to garner a lot of attention, like Accelerator pulls out. But as you can see, as the time goes on, it does bad. So we've established a couple things, right? The longer it takes to like finish a show, the worse it performs. This isn't a problem, right, for a lot of shows, but Twaru is special. How is Twaru special? Twaru is special case because it's not just Index or Railgun, right? There's Index seasons 1 to 4, right? Seasons 1 to 4. 3? I think 3. There's like Railgun seasons 1 to 3, right? And then there's also Accelerator and blah, 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 right? And because we're constantly doing context shift, most people don't even care that much about Index. Most people care about Railgun season 3. And most people voting Index in are only voting for Twaru in order, you know, to watch Railgun season 3. There's a lot of different things happening in this thing right now. So we have a lot of different variables, right? Variables like at play. I want to show you some other community series, okay? I want to show you the most recent one that we did was Grand Blue, I think, right? And Grand Blue did exceptionally well. And this is the power of our community when we're locked in. We started this in June. Of course, the first episode's going to do really well. 18K, 12K. This is the open season 2 announcement, the 9K, 10K. You can see that, like, and we're going to cut it off at season 2. We're just going to only care about season 1 content. Season 1 by the end was around 6,000. This is really good. This is really good because Grand Blue, right, is one and done, 12 episodes, and we were able to maintain the viewership, like, because I finished it really quickly. Now, people are gonna complain and say, well, what about Toru? Like, didn't you like use Toru? Like, you took too long to upload Toru. I don't think so. I think my rate of upload is actually really good. 3 to 4 episodes of Toru like every week is fantastic enough. But there's this, and there's also Saiki K as well. Saiki K. Look at this. Saiki K was also another amazing. This is probably one of the most successful community series I've ever done due to how long it was. Saiki K is like 50 something episodes if we compare like everything. 22K for the opening ending, great. 30K, 20K, look at this shit, right? Every episode was doing so exceptionally well. And if you see the near end of it, right, where do we end off on? Around like 6K, right? 7K. Some of these episodes, obviously, due to the Netflix specials, it's no longer part of the original Saiki K or whatever. But you can see that the viewership of the community series is so strong. And for me to basically, right, for me to like invest into Index over and over again, it's really fucking bad. Because I can't, like this is the viewership that we should be getting. This is the viewership that we should be getting if we procured a good show from our community and pulled it and did it well. By the way, here's another thing. All this viewership here is during when we were shadow banned. We're shadow banned, yet we're able to get this level of viewership because we're focused. What is the difference between Saiki K, Grand Blue, and Index? It's not about upload length, like the time of upload. It's nothing about that. It's that naturally, right? There's context shift in different Toru seasons, right? It's been going on, right? People voting it in without the intention to actually watch. And I'm sure there's some other variables encountered too, right? Obviously, the longer it takes to finish, more new people come in from different shows, but, but they never asked for it. There's a lot of stuff happening. Like, Toru did win the poll. Index Season 3 did win the poll. But the issue with Index Season 3 is a lot of people voted in not because they want to watch Index, but because people are afraid that I'm going to drop Toru and that we'll never get to Railgun 3. So we're in a very, very unique circumstance where I did everything right, but I'm getting punished for it because people are not faithful. And I'm not blaming other people. Like, I've noticed that, and this is a thing that I've realized a long time ago too, and this kind of like is beyond anime reactions, but never blame other people. Never blame society for the problems you have. It is a pointless thing to do, and all you will do is feel helpless and feel not in control. You need to ask yourself and come up with solutions, what you can do to bypass that. So what are the new solutions we have? New solutions we have. New type of polling, right? Because before, again, we would only take specific shows and poll it the most liked, and sometimes they would get brigaded with likes and it would not procure the right result, right? Fate Zero, I think, was a cause of that. There were some other shows too. I think that Bunny Girl Senpai was a little bit sus, but I've basically figured out a new scenario where tournament style, right? Checking out not just one show that gets a lot of likes, but many different shows to get a lot of likes and to kind of like do that. So, right, new type of polling, not continuing a show just because we started it. All right, my goal isn't to finish Toru. My goal isn't and also for Bakemonogatari too, right? If we look at the watch order for this, there's a lot of these shows here. A lot of people seem to think that just because Bake is going in, that I'm gonna go right into Kizu and Nisei and whatever. I'm not gonna do that. When things get voted in, I'm there to cover that in that current time, and then I'm getting out. And if there truly is an audience that cares about this series, you will simply win this for the next pool. You will simply win this for the next pool, and so on. There's a bit of a tricky thing with this though, because some of these are movies, but regardless, right? I will always, right? I will always poll before a new season to basically, you know, understand who are my audience right now. Because this is something that people don't truly understand, right? People think that like, oh, you know, my channel is growing and I got 45k subs. Wow, great. But like, the audience is constantly changing. The audience is constantly changing, and the interest, again, that I've shown you, right? I've shown you with Twaru content. It's like those people, like, guess what? Right? The people that... Let's do a description, and let's go to a certain, right? The people that voted Twaru in back in October 2024 are no longer around. Like, people don't seem to understand this concept, but like, the audience is constantly changing. Same with Twitch viewership too. People that was back then are gone, and that's totally fine, right? The retention of, like, not everybody is like, ask yourself of other YouTube channels that you might have been watching, or Twitch streams you might have been watching, you know, a couple of years ago. You're no longer watching them because you lost the interest, right? So, and that's totally fine. And I need to have a system that retains that better, and I believe that the community series are the answer. But the more that like you drag on a series that got voted in a long time ago without understanding who the new audience is coming in, is the worst thing you can do for yourself. Therefore, this content, this idea is fucking stupid. You need to constantly ask people, what do they want? And in news, after you've done a show, end it and assess who is around right now, right? Because my goal is to give my immediate audience what they want. And anytime, and we've had a big growth in viewership too recently, right? Over the last month, so many new people have come in as part of Tourist, right? And this is a concept that still many YouTubers don't seem to understand. But like, the audience is not a monolith. There are different phases in a life cycle of an audience. In the beginning, they might be tourist here. And later on, there's going to be different types of audience, as you see here. What I'm showing you here are basically people are coming in through, like, I don't know, trends. What's really popular? Taco P was popular, right? Taco P was popular. Lord of the Mysteries is popular, right? Etc. Right? It doesn't matter. I'm talking about, there are new people coming in, but those people only check your content out because of the series that you're covering, and then a lot of people go out too. Most people do not watch a YouTube channel for their personality. They are simply there due to the topic you're covering, the show you're watching, the game you're playing. And a lot of people don't seem to understand this concept. It's a revolving door. If your channel is a fucking tourist destination, and that's why I have the rule set in my Twitch stream too of how I maintain my monkeys, of people not allowed to ask if we've watched something. This is why. You need to prevent this leak from happening. How do you do that? Well, people came in through the trends. They discovered my channel for it. Some of them, I constantly have a call to action too, where I ask people at the end, right? If you're still here and if you enjoyed the reaction, please like the video and check out the other playlists for more content. Some people will actively go and check out these other playlists too. And that's how, you know, our channel, even though we are averaging not that high viewership, right? Even though our each individual views are like 2K, 3K on like lower performing videos, I am in a monthly viewership of 2.2 million views as of the most recent month. This is a false number, by the way. 2.8 million views is kind of wrong here. Social Blade actually fucks up basically at this period. If you see July 7th, the viewership dropping down, that's when I privated all my Psyche K videos. So this viewership is actually wrong. The peak that you see here is actually offset by the dip we have here. When you private videos, Social Blade seems to think that you're deleting the views. It's not how that works. But we're more closer to 2.2 million views per month right now. And that is a number that is very respectable. I know a lot of people don't understand the numbers of monthly viewership with subscriber count, but I am getting more views than most six-figure channels on YouTube right now because of my content strategy that allows me to farm so many different content like this, right? To be able to cover so many different series. Yes, we're not going to be able to get a lot of views with these random series like this, but by nature of covering so many different content, we'll naturally hit some dubs, right? We're going to be taking a lot of L's. There's a lot of fucking L's that we're taking, but there's also a couple dubs. And in the grand scheme of things, at the very end, even if the average viewership is low, the monthly viewership, which is the only thing that matters, is very high, right? So as you have people coming in and going out, right? You need this part. This part is so fucking important, right? To be able to convert people into like loyal viewers, right? If these people are people that only check me out for the random trends, then these people are people that are actually understanding of the community polls. What's the polls? I ask people what they want to watch, right? Some of them will actually comment. And we're constantly talking and engaging and getting people involved. And that's how we're watching these old series that's not even airing right now, right? That's my goal with the community polls. And eventually, you know, they get more and more enjoying the content. They become like, you know, paying members of the stream, Patreon, whatever. Your goal is to convert these tourists all the way here. Most content creators don't really understand this though. Most people just think that, oh, the numbers are high. Like they'll just see like, oh my God, Lord of the Mysteries is getting a lot of views. How come they're not watching these other videos? Like they don't understand that like the audience is different and the viewership is different and it's a very seasonal thing. That's why a lot of channels, they'll pop off for like random topics like solo leveling. And then later on, the viewership dies and solo leveling is gone. Because those people, again, were there for just solo leveling. They weren't there for you. That's such an important concept. To be able to make people care about you, the personality, rather than the content you're making, is how you get to this range. And that truly, I think, is how you determine a good content creator. Like, you want someone to make a career and go long term, you need to understand this part. But most people, again, they just only do this. They're just constantly fishing. They're constantly just checking out trends. Sometimes they'll do well, but most of the time there's no like foundation to it. And that's why I am continuing to finish Toaru. Because even if the average viewership for Toaru is pretty low, these are in a way high quality viewers. What I mean by that is, like, let's just check this episode out, the most recent one I uploaded. The views are obviously going to be low, but what I care more about the views is watch time, right? The engagement, the watch time. The average viewership that you can see here, 9 minutes, 2.35 more than usual. So what I'm trying to show you is it's not about just the views. Sometimes it is worth sacrificing the viewership to appease a hardcore community that's going to stick around, even pay for Patreon and so on, rather than, let's say, 9,000 empty views from Lord of the Mysteries. I'm not saying Lord of the Mysteries has empty views, but what I'm trying to tell you is, if you only care about this audience, sometimes that's not a good idea. You need a delicate balance of tapping into this, of course. This is so important. But then like these two right here, right? Even if the views are low, you can do pretty well. You can be profitable by having hardcore people enjoy it. So TLDR, what I'm trying to say is, Toaru has been straggling on for such a long time, and there is so many different variables at play and why Toaru did bad. I mentioned the duration, the length of how long we've been covering it. I mentioned that Toaru is not one contiguous series, but many, many different stories intertwined, and only some people care about different shit where they're gonna vote index in even though they're not gonna watch it. There's many different variables at play. And it's unfortunate, and sometimes there's no solution. The world is not a perfect place, and sometimes you can try your hardest to figure out a solution, but that is not going to like it's fine. People get very hung up on, I don't have a perfect solution to this. No, sometimes it's more about, let's mitigate the amount of damage that we can do. And the fact that I covered Toaru right now, did it kill my channel? You know what I mean? Like, I was able to cover Toaru for a long time, and these videos are doing really bad overall. Did it kill my channel though? No. We constantly have growth happening. We're killing it. We're averaging the highest viewership that we've ever gone. And it is amazing. So it's not the end of the world. I wish there was a better option. It could have been more optimal. I'm not dropping Toaru. But now I have a new framework. I have a new system where we can procure shows on a high basis. And it'll be very interesting to see what will happen with Monogatari. Because we are going into Bake. But like, will we face the same problems? If we actually get to the end here, yeah, I think the viewership will drop off. Absolutely, the viewership will drop off compared to the beginning. That's, again, a natural life cycle that you cannot prevent. But even if it drops off, remember, what do I care more about? Even if the viewership drops off, I care about this part, right? Where is the baseline? And as long as the baseline is good enough, right, then that is all that matters and just focus on. So at the end of the day, is Index 3 or investing into Toaru a bad idea? No, I don't think so. I think that Toaru was relatively successful. There's been other stuff like Sword Art Online that actually did pretty bad, right? I think that Toaru was a relatively successful project with all due regard. Even though we're having lackluster viewership right now, I'm glad that I was able to cover it. It was also a very fun show to cover. It had its moments. Even like, again, 9 months ago, the Toaru, viewership going to 9 months, it shows that the fandom is alive. It's just that we can't retain that heat, that momentum the entire time. And it's fine. It's fine. We have a new system that prevents the damage from happening. And I hope that Bake will do better by the end if we ever reach the end with Toaru. And that's also the reason why I'm not just going into Railgun T or Accelerator. Again, I talk about this constantly, but I know a lot of people don't watch all the videos, so I mention this over and over again. I'm not going to go into Railgun T after Index 3 is done. We're going to wait until Item and Railgun 4th season release date is coming out. We'll ride that trend and cover that when that happens. Anyways, that's a bit of rambling for you to understand, like my mentality with these community series and why I continue to fuck around with this shit, even if it doesn't do as bad. And here's the other thing too, right? If we look at the other community series that's doing really bad on my channel, like Kaiju 8, 2,000 views after a day, it's about the same, right? It's not the worst. It's fine. It's just barely hanging along.